Shalom, thanks for joining me. I'm going to read Numbers chapter 33 from the Tanakh. These are the departures of the children of Israel, who went out of the land of Mitzrayim by their divisions under the hand of Moshe and Aharon. And Moshe wrote down the starting points of their departures at the mouth of Yahweh. And these are their departures according to their starting points. So they departed from Ramses in the first new moon, on the 15th day of the first new moon. On the morrow of the Pesach, the children of Israel went out with boldness before the eyes of all the Mizrites. And the Mizrites were burying all their firstborn, whom Yahweh had stricken among them. Also their mighty ones Yahweh had executed. Also on their mighty ones Yahweh had executed judgments. Then the children of Israel departed from Ramesses and camped at Sukkot. And they departed from Sukkot and camped at Etham, which is on the edge of the wilderness. They departed from Etham and turned back to Pi Hahiroth, which is east of Baal Zephon, and they camped near Migdol. And they departed from before Hahiroth and passed over through the midst of the sea into the wilderness, went 3 days' journey into the wilderness of Etham, and camped at Marah. And they departed from Marah and came to Elim. At Elim there were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees, so they camped there. And they departed from Elim and camped by the Sea of Reeds. And they departed from the Sea of Reeds and camped in the wilderness of Sin. And they departed from the wilderness of Sin and camped at Dophkah. And they departed from Dophkah and camped at Alush. And they departed from Alush and camped at Rephidim. And there was no water for the people to drink. And they departed from Rephidim and camped in the wilderness of Sinai. And they departed from the wilderness of Sinai and camped at Kibroth Hattaavah. And they departed from Kibroth Hattaavah and camped at Hatzeroth. And they departed from Hatzeroth and camped at Rithmah. They departed from Rithmah and camped at Rimmon Peretz. And they departed from Rimmon Peretz and camped at Libnah. They departed from Libnah and camped at Rissah. And they departed from Rissah and camped at Kehelath. And they departed from Kehelath and camped at Mount Shafir. They departed from Mount Shafir and camped at Haradah. And they departed from Haradah and camped at Marcheloth. And they departed from Marcheloth and camped at Tahath. And they departed from Tahath and camped at Terah. And they departed from Terah and camped at Mithkah. And they departed from Mithkah and camped at Hashmonah. And they departed from Hashmonah and camped at Moseroth. And they departed from Moseroth and camped at Binah Yachan. And they departed from Binah Yachan and camped at Hor Haggidgad. And they departed from Hor Haggidgad and camped at Yothbathah. And they departed from Yothbathah and camped at Abrona. And they departed from Abrona and camped at Etzion Geber. And they departed from Etzion Geber and camped in the wilderness of Sin, which is Kadesh. And they departed from Kadesh and camped at Mount Hor, on the boundary of the land of Edom. Then Aharon the priest went up to Mount Hor at the mouth of Yahweh, and died there in the 40th year after the children of Israel had come out of the land of Mitzrayim, on the first day of the 5th new moon. Now Aharon was 123 years old when he died on Mount Hor. And the sovereign of Arad, the Canaanite, who dwelt in the south in the land of Canaan, heard of the coming of the children of Israel. So they departed from Mount Hor and camped at Salmonah. They departed from Salmonah and camped at Punon. They departed from Punon and camped at Oboth. And they departed from Oboth and camped at Ai-Habarim at the border of Moab. And they departed from Ayim and camped at Dibon Gad. And they departed from Dibon Gad and camped at Almon Diblathayama. And that was hard to say. And they departed from Almon Diblathayame and camped in the mountains of Abarim before Nebo. And they departed from the mountains of Abarim and camped in the desert plains of Moab by the Yarden of Jericho. And they camped by the Yarden from the Beth Yeshimoth as far as the Abel Shittim and the desert plains of Moab. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe in the desert plains of Moab by the Yarden of Jericho, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you have passed over the Yarden into the land of Kedad, then you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, and shall destroy all their engraved stones, and shall destroy all their molded images, and lay waste all their high places. And you shall possess the land and dwell in it, for I have given you the land to possess. And you shall divide the land by lot as an inheritance among your clans. To the larger you give a larger inheritance, and to the smaller you give a smaller inheritance. Whoever the lot falls to anyone, that is his. You inherit according to the tribes of your fathers. And if you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then it shall be that those whom you let remain shall be pricks in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and they shall trouble you in the land where you dwell. And it shall be that I do to you as I thought to do to them. A word of warning.